TxStampin Sharon. I have got an over-the-top card for you today that I'm calling Double Embossing, but then I have some really cute simple cards. So I hope you enjoy this video series. I hope you enjoy this card tutorial on using the Morningstar stamp set from Stampin Up. I have some great tips. You're gonna go nuts. I would love to hear what you think in the comment section below. If you ever need to contact me, you can find that information as well as my website in the description box below. And I am just so excited to share with you all these ideas that I have, and I can't wait to hear what you think. If you're new to my channel, I want to welcome you. I invite you to subscribe by hitting the button below and then hit that notification bell. You'll be notified every time I upload a video or when I do my YouTube lives. Let's get started, guys. Morningstar. Cute little stamp set from Stampin Up. But the reason that I wanted to share it with you today is that the stitch stars that was in the previous catalog, the holiday catalog, is carrying over so that you can use it with this stamp set. And technically, these aren't in a catalog. They are on my website store, but they are called Stitch Stars. I love them. I love all of the different pieces that go with it, as well as the stars. So I really wanted to point that out to you. It is still available. Here is my over-the-top card. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know I love copper. I even had my nails done, kind of copperish this time. I love copper, and we're going to be doing some embossing, and I will share with you a lot of tips and tricks today. The first tip I have to share with you is my sentiment stamp is kind of thin, and photopolymer, like if I put it on here and I get it crooked at all, let's just say I have a little curve to it, it's not going to stamp right. So the first thing you want to do is you want to put it face down, and you want to pick it up with a block, okay? That way we know it's perfectly straight. That is the most important thing that you could learn on today's video, how to pick up those photopolymer stamps and put them on the block. The next thing I want to share with you, you see all those stars? Since we know that we love copper, I took the stitched framelit dies and I cut out a piece. Okay, and I cut all my stars out of the scrap, and I still have plenty left over, so this will go back in my stash. And now I have just a border to give me around my layer of Whisper White. Just a thin little border, but it pulls in the copper everywhere else that I have on my card. You know, another tip I have is, what if this scrap right here isn't big enough for you to do anything with? Okay, let's take the framelit dies, the stitch rectangle dies, cut out a smaller frame using Very Vanilla, whatever color, then you can still use it. Look at that. There's another tip. I love paper saving tips because you know what? This stuff is not, you know, we just don't want to throw it away. We want to find a use for it. So I hope you like that tip as well. I took my Whisper White layer that is, it is actually 4 inches by 5 1/4 because my framelit was a little bit larger. And so I took the regular layer that I like to use, and I used the Coastal Weave 3D embossing folder from Stampin Up. And the first thing we're going to do is that we're going to emboss it with our die machine. So now we have a beautiful weaved pattern. The next thing I want to do is I want to take my Versamark ink pad. It's just a clear ink, and I'm just going to drag it across the bottom right, and I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to drag it across the top left. Next, we're going to pull in our copper embossing powder. So see how we've kind of have a straight line? We're going to kind of brush some of that just to get it a little bit. We just want a subtle. You could take any brush you have. We just want a subtle bit, okay? Same thing again. We're just going to take and kind of settle it up. We just want touches of it. Most likely it won't stick if you try to add more back on, because we've already put powder on it once and that Versamark is no longer sticky. So just kind of get artistic with it, because once we heat set it, that's it. The next thing we're going to do is add our stars. We're going to use a little bit of multi-purpose glue on our silicone mat. We're going to use a sponge that I use for applying liquid glue to very thin, detailed items like this. No two cards will be the same. That's what's so fun about it. I'm going to go ahead and add this layer with a very thin line right on the edge, using the multi-purpose glue, because the multi-purpose glue will get down in all those grooves of that weave. And my card base is, I'm actually using a 4 1/4 by 11 scored and folded at 5 1/2. And I'm going to go ahead and set that there. We're going to go ahead and add our copper frame. Multi-purpose glue gives us a little bit of freedom to wiggle and slide as we need to. And then we're going to add this layer. And I added it upside down. So this card's going to look totally different. But what did I say a while ago? No two cards are the same. I'm not going to stress about it. We're just going to see where this goes. Oh, goodness. You know, I've called myself the Queen of Boo-Boos on many a video. And you know what, guys? It's all fun. Not going to stress. We may like this card better than we like the original one. All right, but I did realize as I was putting my stars on that I lost some of my tiny stars. I don't know where they're at on my craft table. I looked, but I don't see it. So we're gonna do something else. So I have a piece of Whisper White that is a 1/2 inch wide, and who knows how long. We're gonna trim it off. We're gonna get our Versamark pad again, and we're gonna ink up our sentiment. But before we stamp it, we're gonna take our embossing buddy and just get the static out of that paper. And now we're ready to stamp. Hopefully I got it centered. It's a little high, but it's not bad. We're good. I just can't get my head over it with the camera there. So we're gonna go ahead and emboss this with copper powder. You really want to check and make sure we don't have any excess powder anywhere else. This is a really skinny thing, a really skinny strip, so it's hard to give it a good tap like I can my bigger pieces. So just kind of inspect it, use your fingernail, get any excess powder off that doesn't need to be there. I think we're pretty good. And now we're going to heat set. Now we're ready to do some trimming. And the first thing we want to do is we want to take this layer, the sentiment layer, and we just want to cut at an angle like that. And then we're going to lay it on the copper strip. And I'm actually coming off here more, probably about that much, because I want to follow this cut line. Then when I slide it back a little bit, they line up exactly. There we go. Now we're going to bring in our card, and since we're changing it up a bit, we're going to decide, where do we want it? Yep, I think I like it down here. I also told you that since I lost my little stars, we're going to show you something else. I could go cut more. I could stop the video and go cut more, but I want to tell you about something else. So we're going to add this right here. Okay. The other thing I want to tell you is that this is another item that you can still get. It was the Stars Designer Elements, and they were in the holiday catalog with Stampin' Up. You can now get them on my store. They are going to carry over. So I thought, ooh, that'd be fun. Let's see what this looks like on here. Nope. How about down here? Okay. Let's bring in our original card. Hey, I came pretty close. You know, if I had put it on the right way and put the banner here, it would have been really close to this one. The other difference that I did on this card is I actually took this star and stamped it on the Whisper White in the copper, and then I cut it out. But the more I kept looking at it, I was like, I don't know, the way the star hit it, I didn't know if I liked that size. So I just decided to leave it off of this card. And now I want to show you some simple cards. This was double embossed stamping. So we embossed with the embossing folder, then we embossed with the copper. So this was double embossing. Now I'm going to tone it way down, and I'm going to show you some simple cards that I made with just stamps, paper, and ink. So I did still use the stars die, and I cut out using the framelit, using the die, and I stamped. I used this 5-point image because it's the same shape as the star. Stamped that with Granny Apple Green. Then I stamped the Morning Glory using Gorgeous Grape in the center. And then just did some stamping here. I took these sweet little leaves right here. They're so delicate. I hope you can see. This is a distinctive stamp, so it looks so realistic. Then I just added some stars. You also using Gorgeous Grape. Simple card, easy, quick to put together. Then on this one, I actually fussy cut with scissors, with the snips. I cut out one of the Morning Glories. When you start building this card, I did it 2 different ways, and I kind of ran into trouble. So let me show you what the trouble was. First I went and just stamped the flowers, and I thought, I'll just fill in with the leaves. Don't do that. I took this long leaf right here, this long vine, and I stamped once. Then I added a flower. Then I stamped it again. Then I added a flower. Then I stamped it again and I added a flower. Then I took my other vines, now these 2 right here, I put this as see how that piece just goes right into the bottom of the flower? And then I added this leaf to fill in to finish off the card. I took my Granny Apple Green Stampin' Blend and colored the basic rhinestone. Who would have thought that this stamp set would have inspired me to go this way? All right. There's so many things that you can do with this stamp set. And I hope that today's video helped you see the different ways that you can use it. Happy stamping, y'all.